CGM tab can be especially useful for clinicians as it gives them a great understanding of what a standard day may look like for a patient. By going to the first section, which is standard day, we are first shown the AGP graph. Here you are able to follow the amount of variation and the median result for a patient throughout the day. As you can see, the hover box at the top of the screen will change with the statistical information for each hour of the day. You can see that this AGP graph that we're looking at actually accounts for 14 days worth of activity. You can change this time period by using the drop down box. If you wish to have a look at what day has actually achieved the high periods that you can see on the graph here, indicated by the dotted line, you can change across from AGP to modal, and you can see that the maximum in this portion is actually achieved by the red line, which is Wednesday. By switching back to AGP, you can see I'm actually on the noon to noon setting at the moment, which focuses the graph on nighttime activity. You can change this to midnight, which will focus on daytime activity, should you wish to focus on that as a clinician. Obviously, having the freedom to switch between these can make consultations much easier. The option at the bottom of the screen to show active basal profile allows the clinician to reveal the basal profile of an attached insulin pump and see how it compares to the average blood glucose activity with regards to their CGM. We also have the standard box plot format that some clinicians may be aware of from multiple scientific journals. As we click over to the next tab, which is trend, we have the week time activity. So you can see we're looking at 14 days again, so that's 2 weeks. We have week 1 on the top and the CGM activity as it tracks over multiple days across that week, and the second week below, where again we see the CGM activity track over each day of the week. At the bottom we have a trend graph which shows what the average week will look like, as well as multiple other bits of statistical information. On these graphs you'll also see red dots, which you can tell from the key indicates CGM calibration. Not all data is displayed the same. For instance, flash glucose meters may have blue dots here to indicate when a patient has used the device to scan the CGM sensor. As we switch over to the day-by-day view, we see a much detailed level for specific days. For instance, looking at Thursday, we can see the CGM activity, how it dips and rises around the carb information that has been input, indicated on the graph by green triangles, and in the table on the right hand side we see the specific times and carb amounts that a patient has programmed into their device. As I've said previously, different devices are displayed in different ways, so it's worth checking which device a patient is using before referencing the information on diasend. The final tab within this section is statistics. This can be fantastic for any clinicians looking to run clinical studies, as all the information here is displayed in numerical values. It can be printed to PDFs, and you can see how we have the minimum, we have the maximums, we have the interquartile ranges, as well as variation measures. Thank you for listening.